All right, Team Impact. Welcome. We're going to get into lesson 1-1 here. Let me get situated here a little bit. Um, anyway, we're going to be opening up our books to page 7. We're going back to 1. We're going to get back into factors and multiples. So we're going to be using our calculator throughout this chapter, which is a good thing. I probably have already assigned you one. If I haven't, go ahead and grab one up front. And let's get rolling here. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of vocabulary as we start out, and then kind of take it from there. All right, so we have two main things today. We're going to be talking about the GCF and the LCM. The GCF stands for the greatest common factor. All right, so let's just go ahead and write that down. Greatest common, I'm going to abbreviate factor. Okay, define the greatest. Certainly is the largest, right? Common, all right, is the same feature amongst several numbers. So same feature, that's something common, right? And a factor, well, a factor is a number in a multiplication problem. So, all right, so that's what that is. Number in multiplication problem. All right. So that's what the GCF is. We're going to put all this together here in just a little bit, but we should certainly talk about the LCM. And the LCM stands for the least common multiple. Define least. Well, that's the smallest to me, right? Common, again, common, same feature. I'm just going to draw an arrow over there. And multiple is the product of a number and any whole number, right? So 1 times 2 is 2, right? 2 times 3 is 6, and so on. So it's just the product of a number. Product of a number. All right. I don't want to get too carried away with that, but I did want to talk a little bit about that. Okay. All right. So as I flip over and through this, I'm going to flip to page 10. You're going to kind of see what we're going to get into. There's a couple different ways to do it. All right. And, we're going to go ahead and just jump right onto the calculator here. All right. I'm going to blow this up just a little bit here for you if I can. I don't think I can. So that's about as big as we can get. Okay. So got my handy calculator there. I'm going to turn it on and clear it. All right. So it says finds the greatest common factor of each number. A lot of times you're going to be able to look at these numbers and see what it is. I can tell you right now the GCF of these two numbers is 8. Okay. So there's a couple different ways to look at this. I know the 1 times 8 is 8, and 8 times 4 is 32. I'm going to start with factoring, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with the calculator. Okay. So when we factor, if we put the number 8 down, excuse me, right, it's going to be hard to do this with a triple, but 2 times 4, and then 2 times 2. When we factor a number down, we get it down to nothing but prime numbers. And when we talk about a prime number has two factors, one in itself. So when we're talking about this, 1 times 2 is the only way we can get to 2. Okay. And I've circled all my prime numbers. And if I multiplied all of these prime numbers together, what I would get was 8, and you would see that, right? Let's come over to 32. Okay. And we know it's 8 times 4, 2 times 4, 2 times 2, right? And these are circled again because they're common. And I got out of the way there so you could get caught up. We're not circling 4. It's not a prime number. It's what we call composite. It has more than 2 factors, right? So now we have nothing but prime numbers. Now, it's a coincidence that all of the prime numbers here are 2. There'll be other instances where it's not, okay? Okay. So now, as we look at this, you're going to notice and say, hey, right, what is common in both lists? Well, a bunch of 2s. All right, so if I have a 2 here, and really what I'm going to do is just kind of come over here and do it, right? If I have the 8 and I have the 32. So let's just kind of do it this way, all right? The factors of 8 are 2, 2, and 2. The factors of 32 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 twos. Okay, and all I've done is wrote down the circled numbers here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to circle these common factors. Okay, and then we will multiply all of the circled numbers. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. What does that number tell us? That number tells us that the greatest number that goes into both of these, the GCF, is 8. Now, will this thing do that? Sure will. Let me turn the light on and see if you can take a peek at it. All right, so we've got it on. And what I'm going to have you do is come down, okay, and come down to this button where it says Math. And I pushed it. And we have two functions there under the math, actually more, but we're going to focus on these two. One is called the LCM, least common multiple, and the other one's called the GCD, and that's called greatest common denominator. Well, this is what we'll use to find the greatest common factor, GCD. So I'm going to come down, highlight the 2, and hit enter, okay? And then just hit enter. There it is. Now, you'll notice that it comes up GCD, bracket. What I'm going to do is hit the number 8. Now, what I have to do is separate 8 and 32 with a comma. How do you get there? And you'll do this multiple times, so you'll remember. Hit second and come down to the decimal point. Above the decimal point is the second function of that. And it's hard to see on this, but there's a comma there. Hit it, and there's your comma. So now we enter 32. You don't need to close it up, but if you want to, you could, and you'll get 8. So this is the way we do it manually, and this is the way with the calculator. Okay, let's try that again, all right, with 24 and 60. Let's find the greatest common factor that goes into both of them. So we come down to math. GCD, enter. And let's enter the number 24. And remember, we want to separate 24 and 60 with a comma. So hit second decimal. And then enter the number 60. Now, if you just recall, I closed the last one. I'm not going to close it up. So the greatest number that goes into both of those is 12. Okay? All right. Are we okay so far? I hope. Now we have a triple stack. Now when we have a triple stack, all right, the calculator won't do that. All right, so what we're going to do is have to do this by hand here. 3 is prime, so I'm going to go ahead and circle it. Okay, I'm going to come down to the number 12 and factor it down. Factoring means that we're just going to see what makes this number up. 4 times 3 and 2 times 2. Okay. I'm going to draw a little line and put the number 18. And I'll put 3 over there since I circled it, since we're early into this. 2 times 9, 3 times 3. And the last one is 3. And as I told you, the only thing that makes up that is 1, 3. It's prime. So now, if I were looking for the number that appears in all 3 lists, well, the only prime number that appears in all 3 lists is a 3. So the greatest number that goes into all of those is 3, the GCF. Okay? Let's come down. Now, all right, we're going to take a look at number 7. We have the numbers 7 and 9. Okay? So we have 7 and 9. And what I'm going to do is find the least common multiple, or LCM. Calculator will do it, but let's do it by hand first, and then we'll appreciate the calculator much more. What we're going to do is we're going to count by these numbers. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is, I almost put 36, 21. 7 times 4 is 28, 35. 7 times 6 is 42. And let's stop there. What are the multiples of 9? 9, 18, nothing's common. 27, 9 times 4 is 36, close. 9 times 5 is 45, nothing. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 7 is 63. Ooh, so it looks like that's probably going to be it. Let's finish this one out. And there it is. So the first number that appears in both lists is 63. And that is what we call the least common multiple. Okay? But as I mentioned a second ago, our calculator will do this. So let's check and make sure 63 is correct. Going to do the same thing. We're going to come down to the math button. But this time we're going to use LCM. Hit enter, least common multiple. And what we're going to do is enter the number 7. Same deal, separated with a comma. And 9. And hit enter. And you'll notice that the least common multiple of 7 and 9 is 63. And that's what we did. Manually, electronically. I know you like the electronic better. Okay, sometimes you can look at these numbers and say, hey, the LCM of these is 30 because 6 times 5 is 30 and 15 times 2 is 30. But let's check it. Math, LCM, 6, second, decimal, 15. Enter. And there it is. And there it is. And you know what? The same rules apply with a triple. You have to be able to do it manually. So let's go ahead and write these out and find what the LCM of these is. And what I like to do is start with the smallest number, all right, and get up here, all right. All right, let's see here. 9 times 2 is 18, times 3 times 4 is 36, 5 is 45, 6 is 54, 7 is 63. 12, 24, 36. Oh, there's one. Let's see if this will work. 15, 30, 45. No. But there's one, right? So we keep going and keep going and keep going. And when we carry all this out, it's going to end up being 180. Okay? But you know what? I think we could do it with our calculator because you're going to notice we would have to carry all these out to 180. Let's see if we can do it a little bit differently. Let's turn our calculator on and hit LCM. Let's find the LCM of 9 and 12. And we found that it is 36. That's the LCM of those two. Now, let's find the LCM of 36 and 15. Let's see if that will help us. And 15. And there it is. So the LCM of 36 and 15 is 180, as I told you. Okay, but there's no reason to carry these out. That's why we have a calculator. Okay. All right. Let's continue on here. The movie house gives away a coupon, a $5 coupon every 4 movies purchased. They give away a bag of popcorn for every 3 movies purchased. How many movies would you have to purchase in all before receiving both a $5 coupon, okay, and a bag of popcorn for the same purchase? All right. Well, if I were looking at this, I would say I have 4 and 3 for my movies. $5 coupon for every 4 movies. And then for every 3, okay, I get a bag of popcorn. So what we need to do is if we count by 4s and we carry this out, okay, what we're going to do is count by the multiples, all right? Because how many movies would you have to purchase before receiving both the coupon and the bag of popcorn? What we're looking for is the LCM. 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, there it is. So the LCM of these two numbers is 12 movies. We want to label that. Okay. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead, and if you haven't done it, go ahead and circle up. And we're going to go ahead and you can use your calculator as needed. I want you to go ahead and do numbers 1 through 10. Okay. And then I want you to jump to number 18. Okay. 18, 19, 20, all right, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. And that will be your homework for tonight. All right, guys. Have a good day. We'll see you.